When I step up on a diamond, 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 diamonds on my wrist. When I step up on
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you live every single weekday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down 3 industry articles for you and just to provide some reality and actual insight in how to operate in any fucking market that we find ourselves in. I am rocking solo today. We are going hard in the paint on this stuff, and all of my guests are active in the industry and everything else, and there's freight moving right now. But before, as always, before we get in to the show, I gotta let you guys know. This is brought to you by my friends over here at VHub, you guys. VHub asset reallocation is the wave of the future. It's the present in freight, you guys. And frankly, we got to get creative in any market. We got to get creative. We have to provide solutions. We have to execute. Most importantly, you guys, you can't sit on the sidelines and hope shit figures itself out. So my friends over at VHub, right now, they have brand new 2022 drive-ins available for asset reallocation. We are repositioning this right now from the Salt Lake City market up to Delta, BC. And again, brand new 2022 53-foot drive-in, and you get paid $18.50 to do it. That's on top of the revenue you get from the freight as well. So talk about a solid way to cut out that fuel bill, which is probably going to cost you, at least up there, it's got to be roughly what, 900 miles up there from Clearfield, Utah, up to Delta, BC. It's got to be at least 900 miles going up there. And, frankly, right now that takes out a solid portion of your fuel bill heading up. And then they also have these trailers available in Paragould, Arkansas, and Glade Spring, Virginia. And then if you don't have authority to go into Canada or anything like that, you want to stay in the States and you're out west, down in San Diego, California right now, $400 you get paid to go up to Spokane, Washington, as well as $500 to go over to the DFW area. So again, as always, you guys, my friends over at VHub, they are the ones making this show possible every single day for you guys. Hit them up, vhubapp.com. Hit up my friend Stacey Steen or Xavier Campos. They'll be in the audience here in a little bit. Giving some shout outs. Casey, good morning. Great to see you, brother. Sunny, Orange Shirt Gang in the house. Good morning to you. Pat Green, what's up, brother? How are you doing today? Michael, what's up, my man? How are you? It is game time. Dedicated Trucking LLC is back in the house as well. Let's fucking go. Hey, I got to also, my friend Adam Wingfield is putting out that carrier boot camp on Saturday, July 2nd. I already sponsored 2 tickets. 2 trucking companies are owner operators. They already vouched for them. And I told him, depending on how fast they go, I'll go up to 3 more. And again, since those ones flew off, I'm going to get 3 more as well. So if you're an owner operator and you are listening to this and you want to receive some mentorship from my friend Adam Wingfield on Saturday, July 2nd, to go through some business strategy to how to navigate through this next market shift and everything that we're in right now to keep you profitable, let me know. DM me, send me an email, chris@thefreightcoach.com. I'll cover that general admission ticket for the next for 3 more owner operators. Again, it's all about giving back, you guys, and helping people stay in business. I don't hide behind the fact that I am a massive, massive, massive fan of the 97% of this industry that is small business. And frankly, you guys, we got to work with each other. That's how this is going to fix. That's how we're going to provide that fix and everything else. So where we are right now at the Daily Freight Coach Challenge, day 54 of there being a parking issue as well as a facilities issue in this industry. Again, I will stop talking about this as soon as I stop receiving pictures from drivers who are out on the road saying that they can't even use the restroom at a simple facility. Also, the diesel fuel is just fucking through the roof. I don't even know what to report on that. It's just no end in sight. There's no end in sight on that. It's up almost $2.50 a gallon year over year. So again, what can you do in these moments? For me, it's Dedicated Trucking. You want one? Dude, send me an email right now, chris@thefreightcoach.com. I'll purchase this ticket for you today, and I will email you the code to attend that on Saturday, July 2nd. All right. I got you covered, man. I don't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, diesel fuel. My friends over at Trucker Tools, you guys, again, they have this in their app right now, which is free to drivers. Might I add you, is that you can put in your lanes that you're running, and it shows the most cost-effective fuel stop that is on the way. So again, look into these things, look into these cost-saving measures right now, so we can stay profitable in any freight market out there. Samantha Bass, good morning. Speaking of diesel fuel and the national average for gas being fucking what it is, our first article today is going to be just on that. So this one was written by FreightWaves, and it says Biden calls on Congress to enact a 3-month gas tax holiday. President Biden on Wednesday as of yesterday, will urge Congress to suspend the federal gas and diesel taxes for 3 months, a move experts say does not guarantee meaningful benefit for consumers or the trucking sector, which I 1000% agree with. In a fact sheet by the White House, the administration acknowledged that the federal 18-cent per gallon gas tax and 24 cent per gallon tax on diesel are critical to funding highway maintenance and repair bills through the Highway Trust Fund. I believe we just gave $1 trillion for the infrastructure. Again, I went to public school, so my math numbers might be off. All right. I don't have private education or anything like that. But when it goes on to say, but in this unique moment with gas prices near $5 a gallon on average across the country, President Biden is calling on Congress to suspend the gas tax for 3 months, wait till the end of September to give Americans a little extra breathing room to deal with the effects of Putin's war in Ukraine. Of course, you got to throw that in there. In remarks planned for later in the day, Biden also expected to encourage states to take similar action by suspending their own gas taxes. Good morning, Dennis Everett. So, I mean, just to put into this is my gut feeling. This is my reaction to the president and the White House coming out and saying that they're going to suspend this 18-cent gas tax. So my truck has 20 gallons to fill it up. So again, simple Wisconsin public school education math. That's $3.60 that I'm going to save on that for 3 months. I fill up once a week. We'll round up even and say I'm saving $16 a month. So the tax that they're giving me a break on of the money that I already pay in taxes, they're going to give me 32 and say $50. Here's a good old $50 fuck you. Keep your fucking gas tax at that point. That's my opinion on that. Same thing with it on diesel. 24 cent savings when it's at $5.80 a gallon right now. I mean, so you're going to drop it down to $5.60 a gallon for 3 months. So let's call it what it is. This is insulting. It is insulting to me that they think the American public is that ignorant that they can't even do the simple math like that and find out that this is literally going to do absolutely fucking nothing. A gallon of milk right now is almost $5. All right. So the $4 you might save if you fill up once a week doesn't even get you a gallon of milk. So think about that in simple terms. Matt Fink goes on and says, sounds great. No teeth. Here we go. No teeth, no help. If you own a pickup truck, this will save you a whopping $200 over the course, 18 cents. Yeah, man, but it's only for 3 months. It's not even the course of it. It's for 90 days. All right. So the way that I see it is keep your $50 because don't insult me, Yeah, Dennis Everett, you're right. It's a Band-Aid. I don't even call it a Band-Aid, man. It's like it's the thought of opening up a Band-Aid and not even applying it for a wound that needs stitches. It's just fucking insane to me. It goes on to say that, however, it does. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna go on to read more of this. And then Congress has transferred the funds to the general fund 3 times since 2008. It's the HTF fund, the Highway Treasury Department's fund. And this is why I'm a massive fan of Chris Spear over at the ATA, because they came out and said it strongly opposes a fuel tax holiday, calling it a gimmick that does not effectively address high energy prices or inflation. Agreed. Here are 3 immediate things this administration and Congress can do that will actually make a difference, ATA President Chris Spears says. Make America energy independent. Yes, 1000%. Like we talk about on this show all the time. As the United States of America, we should not be fucking dependent on anyone for anything. It also goes on to say, stop kissing the ring of Saudi Arabia. Renew trade agreements with Eastern Europe and Asian Pacific nations in order to export more American oil and natural gas and balance the budget. Stop wasting hard-earned taxpayer dollars on senseless programs that drive up inflation and runaway deficits. A holiday tax holiday on fuel could have ramifications with the supply chain as well, according to Bobby Bowie, a specialist in oil and gas. Goes on to say, temporary halting federal diesel and gasoline taxes would disrupt the entire fuel industry. It goes on to say, let me see here, benefits in question. And let me say that, like, this is a well-written article. I will say this. I'm not like going after the author or the journalist in this or anything. It's just the context inside of the article that are getting me fired up. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. David Brunori, a senior director of tax consultancy at RSMUS and a visiting professor from George Mason University, said most public finance experts frown on tax holidays at both the state and federal level, and they are rarely ever viewed as a good tax policy. Politically, it's a winner in the sense it shows the government is doing something. It's not a winner. It's like they're doing, again, like this is the abusive spouse. This is what this is to me. They're not doing anything in this. It's the abusive spouse that punches you in the fucking face and says, I'm only doing this because I love you. That's what this is. And, you know, for me, it goes on, but there's no guarantee that all the savings will be fully paid. Yeah, none of the savings, like, we're not going to see any fucking benefit from this. Again, it's a massive slap in the face, and it's pandering at its finest, in my opinion. That article was written by Freightways. Biden calls on Congress to enact a 3-month gas tax holiday. Again, great information in there, great written article. Just the context of the information in there is just fucking pitiful to me. What a slap in the face that is, in my opinion. Casey, yeah, what difference does it make? It is a slap in the face. It's doing nothing but dropping the price. It's doing nothing to do with dropping the price. What's weird to me is I thought that the narrative was that the president couldn't do anything about gas prices. It's really weird how that works. If they lose tax revenue, do you really think they're going to make it up somewhere else? Yeah, they'll get their tax. They'll get their money in some way, shape, or form. How else does the federal government function? Through our tax dollars that we pay in. That's where they get their money. So it's like, hey, I stole this from you. I'm gonna give you a small percentage of it back though, because we care. Get the fuck out of here. Dennis Everett, how is it more environmentally friendly to drill in the Middle East than the near? Yeah. I don't know, Dennis. I can't answer that. I don't have a specific degree in drilling or whatever the fuck they want to call it. Yes, use U.S. resources. Amen, Samantha Bass. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate that. It is the best. Every episode's a fucking best episode yet. That's the way that we're doing. We're raising the standards every single time in here. Let me see. What else do we got? Here's a good article to kind of completely shift focus. But again, I had to put my opinion out there on this stuff, you guys. I'm not going to fucking stay silent on any of this bullshit because this literally does nothing, but they're trying to position it as the greatest savior ever. I mean, last year they wanted to tout that we're saving you 16 cents on fucking 4th of July, and now it's costing you $17 more this year. So, yeah, Jesus. Anyways, let me take a sip of my coffee here. Again, Black Rifle Coffee Company. If you're listening to this, I'm a member of your coffee club. I love your stuff. You guys are fantastic. TTnews.com. Biden administration prepares trucking workforce programs focusing on women and younger drivers. In the $1 trillion Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which was signed into law on November 15th, there were provisions to address the lack of women and younger drivers in the trucking workforce. During her most recent appearance in Congress, the acting chief at the FMCSA, Robin Hutchison, informed a Senate committee that the advisory board focused on women entering the workforce. The Women Trucking Advisory Board would be launched later this year. Hutchinson, who was nominated by President Joe Biden, said Biden administrations welcome the benefits that would result from increasing the number of women in trucking. Amen. I want to see more women in trucking. The FMCSA leader shared her viewpoints about new programs specific to the trucking workforce. She goes on to say, we anticipate being able to holding a kickoff meeting in late summer or early fall. Hutchinson said, it's the role will be to identify barriers to women entering and staying in the driving profession. The agency told Transport Topics and anticipates announcing the board members by the end of summer. The aim to soon to fill the unveiled board. We'll kind of skim over that because it doesn't really like come out with anything. It just talks about what they're going to do to fill the board. Stakeholders argue that increasing the female demographic in the workforce would help the industry address the ongoing shortage of drivers. I can't sit here and agree that there's a driver shortage at all on this, and more drivers would likely assist with alleviating the supply chain bottlenecks, transportation experts have argued. As part of the administration's trucking plan, the Department of Transportation and Labor are asked to present new pathways into the trucking profession for underrepresented groups such as women. It's getting harder and harder to recruit new drivers, particularly women and people of color, to an industry that nation and our economy desperately needs at full strength. And the Labor and Transportation departments are working closely with this. Our experts argue that women are underrepresented in trucking and make up about 10% of OTR drivers. I agree with this. We need, like, this isn't, I want to see more women behind the wheel. I want to see more females in everybody in the industry. Like we just like, and I'm very clear on this. We need to do a better job of recruiting people into the industry. But just like how I have that daily tally, and like my friend Sheree Moore, she's a sweetheart. I had her on my podcast. She Trucking, check her out in the She Trucking movement that she has going on with there. But like a while ago, she posted a picture of going to Walmart and buying a fucking camp bag and a bucket to use for the bathroom. Like, if you think, like, who would want to sign up for that job? I would love to hear from everybody who watches this show. Would you sign up for a job that you had to piss in a bucket every single day? I don't think so. I think that, yes, this is a symptom of the overall problem that we need to bring in more people, but the root cause are not being talked about. You know, the root causes of what drives people away from this industry are not being talked about. I want to see personally the industry as a whole have a higher barrier to entry into this because let's be honest. I don't agree with the fact that freight brokers don't have to have insurance that's out there. I don't agree with that at all. I feel like if you're going to broker freight, if you are going to be in this transaction, you need to have cargo. It's not required by law. That's my personal stance on that. I think that also, like with dispatch services and everything else, they got to have some skin in the game too here, because we need to raise the standards. And again, this doesn't eliminate these problems. I'm not going to sit here and say it does, because frankly, it doesn't matter if you put fucking ELDs, governors, whatever the fuck you want to throw on the engine. People are going to break the law no matter what. You know, it's a hard pill for some people to swallow, but it doesn't matter what fucking legislation you throw. Rule breakers are going to break the fucking rules no matter what. That being said, we need to make a coordinated effort as an industry to make this to clean up a lot of these issues. We have to do that. We have to work together. We have to put our best foot forward. We have to address and have these crucial conversations, these difficult conversations that a lot of people don't want to admit that they're a part of. You know, a lot of what I've gone through over, you know, like I completed this program called 75 Hard. Look into it. 75 Hard will literally change your fucking life. It's free also, by the way. But I had that realization that I had that difficult conversation that I was the one who was stopping me from doing things. I was the cause of a lot of the problems in my life. And I think if you want change, you have to start with you. All right? You have to start with you. Let me see here. Let's go. Voya, Ellen Voya, they took her. She is the head of the Women in Trucking organization. If you are more risk averse, women ask more questions and take longer time to make decisions, which there's nothing wrong with that because they're contemplating all of their options. She goes on to say, everyone is talking about diversity and inclusion, and everybody's talking. So I think the timing is right because people are seeing the value in having a more diverse workforce. And then Senator Tammy Baldwin from Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, we make things and we need to ensure that we have a strong workforce to transport the good. Yes. The younger driver aspect of it. I know that there is a lot going on. And there's a lot to be said to debate having an 18-year-old behind the wheel and everything else. But I think like with accurate training, because I mean, again, you're 18, you can drive in state lines, you can get your CDL, and you just can't leave the state. You can do that currently. You can drive a semi in the military at 18 years old. I think that there needs to be I like the framework of the apprenticeship that they speak of. I just think that they need to increase training. They need to have the best of the best training, and there needs to be an increase in the hours of training before they can get out there and cross. I mean, who knows? It might be like a 2-year apprenticeship program. They have to log a certain amount of hours. They have to have a certain safety, like a clean safety record and everything else to graduate into being able to cross state lines. And I would like to see, probably 19 and a half, 20 years old, a year and a half to a 2-year apprenticeship of being out there, learning the ins and outs of it, and then having them out on the road. I mean, I know when I was 21, I was no more mature at 21 than I was at 25. All right. So I don't really see why we can't lower the age. I just think that if we do, and when we do, there has to be accurate and adequate above standard training to make sure that everyone is safe in these situations. I just think that at the end of the day, it was a good article overall. TTnews.com. It goes on to the Biden administration prepares trucking workforce programs focusing on women and younger drivers. Again, I'd like to see that. I mean, as my friend Ingrid Brown said a long time ago, she's like the steering wheel doesn't know the gender. I would love to see that. I think that, let's get it. We need everybody. We need everybody to get behind the wheel and get into the greatest industry on earth, which is the transportation industry. All right. Final article for today from my friends over at the JOC. No logistics normalcy in sight for U.S. shippers, says the CSCMP, Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals. So that is, supply chain costs that hit new highs in 2021 are not likely to drop in 2022 as rising interest rates, historically high fuel prices, and inventory carrying costs keep pressure on the budgets of U.S. shippers. Those costs are countering softening spot and contracted transportation rates, the speaker said on Tuesday. Speakers and attendees at the launch of the report in Washington, D.C. were hopeful about the long-term logistics outlook for shippers, but they did not see immediate hope for lower supply chain costs. Strategic partnerships are really critical, said Jennifer Kobus, who's the VP of Transportation and Logistics for Ulta Beauty, They helped us make it through this pandemic, and we are looking to improve costs in the second half of as the market softens, but we are also looking to be a strong partner. All right, we're going to emphasize on that word partner here for a while. Ulta Beauty revamped its trucking portfolio a few years ago. The annual RFP is kind of dead, she said. The retailer placed annual bids with a continuous bidding process for its lanes and business. And Kobus believes more shippers will move in that direction to make use of short-term mini bids. Shout out to my friends over at Emerge. They have this. Ulta Beauty, if you're not on Emerge or anybody out there, if you're a shipper and you have a bidding RFP tool, you have a need to digitize that, reach out to my friends over at Emerge. They already have the technology in place, and it will help you out with that, because I agree with this. I personally think that the days of the annual or even biannual bids in the RFPs are dead, or they will be extinct here very, very soon, because, again, shippers have a budget to follow as well. And frankly, it's one of those, let me see here. Dennis Everett. Sorry, this comment came in a little bit, might be delayed on there as well. But it said that they drive trucks in the military at 17. Age doesn't dictate maturity. Amen to that. My wife would say I'm a very immature 36-year-old man. So anyways, back to the article. I think personally that you're going to see a lot more of that. I wouldn't be surprised if you see, with the advances in technology, and my friends over at Emerge are really spearheading and leading this, the advances in technology that are out there, 30-day bids, I could see being a major staple for highly commoditized lanes in the United States of America on products such as dry and refrigerated freight, where there's the volume to back it up. And I could see it almost evolving into a multi-cycle bidding process, to where it's like the high volume lanes are bid on a 30-day cycle. The mid-tier volume lanes are on a 60-day cycle, and the low volume lanes, that's where you might see a quarterly bidding tool on that. Again, that's just my guess. I just think with the advancements in technology, it's going to get easier and easier. And the more and more of a push for real-time data, real-time visibility, and all that stuff is going to make it a very interesting time. You got to get good. You're going to have to get good. As I say, partner in this article a lot. And again, I think it goes on to say in here, reset, the word reset, which your boy here has been talking about for a couple of weeks now, about the fact that after this holiday, my guess is around the middle of July is the axe is going to be coming down on the transportation companies that took advantage of the market and still failed on loads and charged astronomical prices and completely fucking hung people out to dry. I think your days are numbered. That's just my guess on that. Now that there's a little bit of normalcy and balancing that are coming on, and the volatility is always there, but it's becoming more and more of a normal operating cycle, we'll call it. The word for the next couple of months is resetting, said Steve Bobb, Executive VP and Chief Marketing Officer at BNSF Railway. The conversations we're having with steamship lines, trucking companies, and BCOs, beneficial cargo owners, are very practical. There are a lot of inventory that people want in different places. And right now that inventory is still coming in. Logistics costs represented a much higher share of the GDP since starting at the century of 10.3% in 2000. And it's at 7.2. What the fuck? 7.2 and 7.9% for the past decade. It goes on. The cost of waterborne transportation increased 26.4% last year. In contrast, total business logistics costs dropped 4% in 2020 to 1.56 trillion. Last year's rocketing costs were fueled by the U.S. stimulus spending. The market is not going down dramatically, but there's downward pressure on rates and more space than before. In the last 6 weeks, there's been a lot more available space, and customers on our network are back in discussions with carriers to negotiate lower rates. And carriers are anxious to gain more cargo. The decline in truckload spot market rates has shippers that fled the transactional market late last year, early this year, eager to return to savings. But that move is not without risk. Shippers will have to balance the lower spot rates with maintaining contract relationships. As we're talking about, again, I don't see any shipper with massive volume dropping. The spot market is, I think, hovering around $2 a mile right now, plus fuel at the national average. But, contracted rates are still, in certain lanes that are out there. Again, this is just me. I'm not going to use specific examples or specific numbers, but when I work with my clients and everything, we have contracted rates that are well above the spot market rate. And that is because obviously they're going to lock in and honor those contracts. Hence why tender rejections plummet in those times. But there's going to be a balancing act on this. It's going to be very finely tuned, because I've said this before, high fuel prices they're not a blessing in disguise. They're not a saving grace. I don't know how to put this, but high fuel prices is what's going to keep the contracted rates up. I believe that's what my gut's telling us. You're just not going to see a complete gut shit show of a reset. You might in some instances. I just don't see experienced transportation managers rolling the dice, knowing how volatile that the market can be and can turn into when you completely flip a freight market that's out there. So again, that one was from my friends over at the JOC. And let me see here. JOC, title of that article is "No Logistics Normalcy in Sight for U.S. Shippers," it goes on to say. I think that, again, that was another great article by them. I think that the next, it's going to be, if you've serviced your accounts, like truly been a partner, not a social media partner where you're just fucking, talking a bunch of bullshit out there trying to proclaim that you are when you're actually not. I think that you are going to find yourself with more business than you know what to do with here over the next 18 months. In my professional opinion, if you've done the right thing over these last 24 months in the most volatile market that our industry has probably experienced in a long time, if you've done the right thing and you've serviced them, you haven't gouged them, you haven't taken advantage of the situation, you made a healthy profit, your carriers made a healthy profit, you are going to see more freight than you've ever fucking imagined that you could. On the contrary, though, like I had alluded to earlier, if you were one of those individuals who took advantage, excuse me, bless me. If you were one of those individuals who took advantage of these situations and gouged prices and still sucked at servicing and communication and everything else, I think you might want to fire up your fucking phone here soon, because you might be in a position where your freight is shut off instantly. So fire up that phone, get back out there and start making some cold calls if you've been one of those. And you all know, hey, I'm guilty. I've done the bullshit in the industry. I am not immune to that. I am not at an ivory tower. I've been in this industry for a very long time. Well, long enough to cover 3 full truckloads total. But fire up your phone if you've been doing it. You all know it. I'm not immune to it or anything else. But that's it for today, guys. Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, the flagship production of the Freight Coach Network, which is coming to you live every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to bring to you guys the realities of the transportation industry. Again, all of my guests are active in the day-to-day. All of my guests are in this industry. There is nobody who is going to be on this platform that isn't involved in this industry and has experience in this industry, because that is how we are going to properly navigate through any freight market out there. This is brought to you by transportation professionals for the transportation professionals to keep the 97% of this industry that is small business in business through any freight market out there. If you guys see value in this, share the show. That's what I can ask. Share the show out there, because if you do, people in your network are going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys all so much, and we'll be talking to you soon.